The Tomorrow People, episode 14, Brothers Keeper. This episode I thought was really enjoyable due to the fact that they had two twins who, one was paranormal, one wasn't. And the guy who played who played both twins was, I thought, a pretty good actor. The one twin who was the actual murderer, he was the one who's, he was sort of more confident. He was like, you can't do this to me. You wouldn't be saying that if I had a rope tied around your neck and stuff like that. He was the sort of cocky, confident one, and then the guy who actually had, the ability to teleport and to, push people and pull people and, read minds and things like that. He was the less confident one, and the actor really did that well. I thought he was a really good actor who portrayed the different roles, the sort of polar opposites very well, and he was, like I said, really confident and stuff, and then he would sort of change his voice to, it was sort of a bit higher pitched when he was the actual the Tomorrow Person brother, and I thought that was really cool. And from the beginning of the episode, I instantly knew it was twins. But the characters, they had to figure it out and stuff. But I still enjoyed it, even though I knew from the beginning. I was like, twins. One has powers, one doesn't. It was automatic to me. I knew that, but I still loved the episode for what it did. I thought they were really good characters. I thought it was a cool story for the episode, and although I really wanted it to be like, I kind of wanted it to pick up, like, even though it technically picked up right where, the last episode left off, it didn't focus on that nearly as much as I thought it would, which was going to be, you know, Steven's mother has ability. She's a Tomorrow Person. She hid this for such a long time, and, she saved Astrid and her dad. What are all these different elements going to do for the series and stuff? And they kind of pushed it aside in a way, like Astrid and her dad were basically kind of pushed out of the show, so hopefully they'll be back, and I'm sure they will be, because Astrid is, even though the Tomorrow People are really the main characters, she's the main character's best friend, and the best friend is always really a main character when it's the best friend of the main character. So I'm sure she'll be back, and we'll get to see more of her father, who we really only got to see at the end of the last episode, and that was the only time. But now that he knows, and Astrid, she knew about Steven, and now she knows about his mother as well. Hopefully they'll be able to come back into the series now that Jedediah is, kind of promised Steven, like, hey, you continue to work for me, you help me out like you have been doing, and I promise to rework what the founder did. And he showed that he actually did care in the beginning of this episode, and that was actually really interesting. He came in, he ran into the house and stuff, and he was like, I thought you guys were in trouble and things like that. And then he talked to Steven and was like, I didn't, I wasn't the one who set that up. I didn't want to kill her, but that's what happens when you work with the founder. And something I thought about while I was watching this episode is maybe what they do in this episode from this season on, now that they're going to be, Jedediah and Steven could become a little bit closer. Like, they seem to have gotten a little bit closer for how they bond, in which you can hardly call it bonding, but in the way that they do tend to bond, I think they were fairly close in this episode. They got, Steven got a little glimpse into his uncle, especially at the end of the episode, when he kind of, well, he didn't even kind of break down. He flat out broke down, and he was, like, crying because the human twin was killed off, and you could see how much it affected him. And it was like, okay, maybe the reason he's so affected by this is because he's always wanted to make sure this worked, and even though it never worked before, this was his big chance, because he knew, with twins, you're so identical, you look alike, and you're the same height, and so many things about your body come out exactly the same, that one huge difference that makes one brother a human and one brother a Tomorrow Person could be much easier to find. And he lost that chance, and that's like, as John said, he said, transferring powers is like the holy grail to Jedediah, and I'm sure he wants to, figure out how to do that, because he wants his brother's power, who we find out in this episode is like frozen in some secret underground bunker, and he's like in just in cold storage pretty much, and he's somewhere in Ultra, and it was a really good ending. Like, I knew his brother would be there, I wasn't sure in what way. I thought maybe he's a prisoner, maybe he stayed there because he's hiding or something like that from the founder, maybe because they had the little flashback scene where Jedekiah and Stephen's father were talking, and Jedekiah says you can't fight the founder. He's just way too strong for you. Like I can't fight against him with you because I'm human, and even with your abilities, you can't beat this guy. He's too good for you. And that's kind of how they really ended up separating like that. And he says like Jedekiah says if you go out against the founder, he'll make me hunt you down, and that's how it played out. But even though that happened, somehow you know Jedekiah got his brother's body and he put him in storage, and it was probably just the fact that Jon killed him and he called it in, and they just picked up his body, and Jedekiah sort of worked some things behind the scenes, and that's why he was able to keep his brother's body from being torched or buried somewhere random. So Stephen's father is in cold storage. I don't know if he's alive or not. I mean, we've had the episode where Stephen talked to his father in sort of purgatory realm, so he could be sort of alive, and that could be the reason why it wasn't that he died and was sort of like trying to do something as he was dying or anything like that. It could be the fact that he didn't completely die. He's like just on the precipice of death, and Jedekiah keeping him frozen in that weird blue gel or whatever is sort of keeping him alive just enough to be able to do certain things at random points in time. But I'm really excited to see just how it happens, how close Stephen can really get to actually finding his father, especially now that his mother knows everything that's going on in Ultra. And I'm curious to see how things play out against the founder, because I thought maybe what's going to happen is the founder overall, he'll be sort of the overarching villain in this season rather than Jedekiah, because Jedekiah is trying to although he is obviously the bad guy, he just has one purpose, and that is help humans. And he believes that the founder's trying to do the same thing and to help humans. But Stephen's father said you can't really think that, like, he's a maniac. He wants to just have power and stuff. And whatever he's doing with his daughter, they could bring that in as sort of a season 2 type of thing if they happen to kill off the founder as the main villain in this season. And even though his daughter did originally hate him, maybe after whatever experiments he does to her after they're all finished, maybe he'll have her under like complete mind control, and then it's like Steven and the Tomorrow People will kill off the founder, and then she'll still be under mind control. So instead of her being like he was a horrible person and I don't care nearly as much as I normally would, like we saw when his daughter was introduced, she would be under mind control, and she'd kind of go after everyone and sort of be the main villain in season 2. She'd be the crazy, incredibly powerful one, since she's I believe they call it synesthetics or something like that. But I thought maybe that could be something that happens if they do actually go up against the founder and he ends up getting killed off this season. But I'm really excited to see, because they did show the in the preview for like past episodes, they showed the founder and his daughter, and I think that's just because of the fact that the founder is mentioned left and right in this episode, because it does of course take place right after that episode, so it makes sense also. But I'm really excited to see how that plays out. Excited to see if Luca, we find, like, something I read after I really realized some things is that Luca may not have been the one breaking out at all. It could have been his mother, because she was there during a lot of those scenes. But I would love to see Luca actually, be a breakout at some point in this series, even if it was actually his mother during that whole camping trip episode. I'd love to see Luca kind of, come out of nowhere, and he also has powers, and Steven does actually have to take him under his wing. And I think if they decide to do that, they'll definitely save it, because they have so much going on right now that they wouldn't just want to flood it in with yet another good storyline that kind of does deserve its own couple of episodes. So hopefully we do get to see that. But for now, I'm gonna go with it was actually Steven's mother that was causing those problems. After I kind of read a comment and thought, that makes a lot more sense that it wasn't Luca. It was actually just Steven and Luca's mother because she has powers. So excited to see what happens throughout the rest of this season. Um, like I said, love the actor who played the two twins. I thought that was a pretty good storyline. It was kind of an interesting ending, and I thought they were actually going to escape, but then of course the human twin, he gets killed off, and then the other twin sort of leaves with the money because as he mentioned, like we kind of went in to kill Jedekiah like you wanted, and Steven got in the way, and now my brother's dead, so I think I earned the money. So he's off on his own now, and Jedekiah sort of broke down, and Steven got to see that. So it has a lot of subtle developments in this episode, but overall they were really, really good. And something that I mentioned, I think in a lot of my reviews when they do it in the episode, once again, the action was just really, really good, especially the actual hand-to-hand combat. And I can't think of his name right now, but obviously, like, the funny guy of the show, every time he's in the fight and he's doing martial arts, it's really sweet because for me personally, I love martial arts, and I love even when they don't have martial arts or when he's not the one fighting. This show always has some of the best action because it's really good, close quarters combat, and it's like blocks and actual reversals, and they're like flipping and kicking and all types of stuff, and they use their powers, so it makes it even cooler because they can do stuff from seemingly impossible angles, or what are impossible angles for humans, where if I'm about to get slammed down, I just teleport and I'll land on your back or something like that. But the fight scene they had where he was fighting against the twin, that was definitely one of my favorite scenes. And they're doing like flips and stuff, and like when he did the front flip when the guy's arm was between his legs, and he like tried to flip him up, and he lands on his feet, and then he does like a spin kick and stuff. I thought that was an amazing fight scene. That was definitely one of my favorites I've seen in the series so far. And it was also just in this tight little space, so there wasn't a lot of like panning back really far, showing a ton of different, things happening at once. It was just sort of a silhouette of the people on the actual dance floor and these two characters in this one little room between these two curtains. And it was just a really good fight scene, and I just wanted to mention that because I always do when they have these amazing fight scenes. And it's one of the things that, every time I watch it, it's like I love how well written the show is, and I love the characters and stuff. And then they come out with these sort of action, really big action scenes, and it's like every time I watch it, I just forget, and then it's like there it is again. I love the action in this series because they just do it really, really well when it's an actual, hand-to-hand fight, when it's not them just training, and it's good versus evil, and they're just like just beating on each other, and it's actually really cool close quarters action. But love the episode. I was really excited for the preview because they brought Julian back, who is the crazy tomorrow person that kind of helped Kara become, in a sense, who she is today, because he was a maniac who wanted to just sort of rob humans and kill them all off, or at least try to kill them off. But excited for next week, and of course the only reason I remember his name is because it was in the preview. But I'm excited for that because I knew he was coming back because he survived the last time. And I'm really excited to see him working with Ultra, trying to just go after everyone. And in the preview, they are actually in the subway, you know, I guess Batcave in a sense. But they're in their underground camp. And I'm really excited to see how that changes everything for the season 2. But as far as this episode goes, can't wait to see, like Ashton and her dad come back as far as that plot line goes. Can't wait to see how things work out with, Steven and his mother, and Steven working for Ultra now that he really realizes even when he's helping the founder's going to do whatever he wants. And I'm definitely excited to see just what happened with Steven's dad. What is Jedekiah really trying to do? Like, is he trying to bring him back? Is he trying to find a way to take his powers while he's in that weird stasis? What is he really trying to do? Because I feel like it's a little bit more than I just want to, take your powers. But it could just be the simple fact that, he's jealous of his older brother, or his younger brother, actually. And he feels he deserves to have this power because, he's the one who made, kind of made Ultra, and he's the one who leads all these people and stuff like that, and he's just human. So maybe that's what he's really trying to do. But love the episode, and definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Favorite parts, least favorite parts. And now that we've gotten to see that Steven's father is at least physically whole, who knows what's going on mentally? How do you guys think that's gonna play out in this season? Do you think it'll even, do you think the solution will be found in this season, or do you guys think Steven won't really find any of these details out until next season? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.